video, I'm going to show you how to create a graphics template to sell on Creative Market, how to choose what you're going to create your mock-up images, and get this up on Creative Market. As you can see, I have a few different types of things. I sell fonts, I also sell vector graphics and watercolor graphics here on Creative Market. We're going to use this 43 bows as an example because it was a fairly simple graphics pack to set up. You'll see I have some more complicated ones like this, over 500 illustrations, but some of them are very simple. Like this is just one watercolor frame sold in 3 different colors. So to decide what you're going to upload in your graphics pack, first you can always start with what you want to create. There's always going to be some kind of market for that. It might just change how you are sharing that and driving traffic to it. If you want Creative Market to really drive the traffic for you, then I do recommend doing some research on what is trending and popular so you get familiar with how people are expecting to buy things here, what types of things are going to be popular here, and what types of things are just going to sell. So Creative Market does send out a lot of emails with what's popular lately, so I highly recommend signing up for those, but you can also just search any of the types of products here and see what's popular. So in graphics, we're going to see a few things. We see Art Nouveau, we see these whimsical frames, we see collage information, a lot of collage style, chinoiserie, these cottagecore like sketchy, cute illustrations. Over here we see a couple bundles, like this is 45,000 items in a bundle. Those are popular. Stripes are popular. This gold foil kind of lends itself to that Art Deco, Art Nouveau. So does this Celestial Garden lino cuts a little bit. So when we're over here, we're thinking about what is popular, what can you do in your style that's going to reflect some of these themes. I also love to use Pinterest. As I said, my market is mostly wedding invitations, so I'm going to search wedding invitations, and I'll see a lot of those same things. Always these little like frames and crests are going to be popular, but I see these whimsical illustrations a ton of times. I see this Art Nouveau look. I see bright colors. I see, bold text. If we're thinking about fonts, I see stripes, more whimsical illustrations, scallops, shapes, these like kind of grand millennial style illustrations, etc. So we're seeing a lot of the same things. Obviously, watercolor florals are always going to be popular for wedding invitations, and this can help inform what kind of pack you're going to create. So for instance, I did start with this love illustrations. I want to do something for Valentine's Day that could also be used throughout the year for wedding invitations. So I wanted it to be Valentine's Day, but encompassing of love in general. And I didn't want to call it a whimsical Valentine's Day pack. I wanted to call it a whimsical love pack so that people could find it when searching for other wedding invitation pieces. And then part of that was these bows, which I knew bows were really popular lately. So I wanted to create an individual pack with just the bows that's a little bit simpler. If you're not super familiar with Creative Market, I highly recommend clicking on some of the popular stuff just to see how people are expecting to shop. Think of use cases for your clients. So for instance, if you are going to use this lino cuts, they have all of the individual elements listed out, but they've also taken those elements and created a few frames. And yes, someone could do that for themselves, but if you have a more amateur designer, then it's already done for them. They might not know how to do that. And this comes across as just more of a selling point. It's just an additional thing that people have here. If someone was selling, for instance, just one flower here, it's beautiful. I love it. But as an invitation designer, I can't use just one flower. I need at least like 5 to 10 flowers in the same style and colors, etc., to create an invitation suite. So selling one piece at a time is probably not super helpful unless you have a very specific use case for it. We'll look at this cottagecore pack. It's got those whimsical illustrations, beautiful. So some things that they're doing is just showing use cases for these pieces. Bows, of course, are popular. And they're also using their elements in the background of these pieces just to further show how you can use them. So this is a very mock-up heavy product listing, but I always want to show everything that is included. It's very popular to include patterns in your packs because people love to use like seamless patterns in addition to the elements. Yes, I could create that pattern myself, but it's nice that it's already done for me, and that's going to encourage me. I would rather buy something where it was already done for me a little bit. So you want to show everything. You want to show some use cases. Let's see what we've got here. You want to potentially put things together in frames. Yeah, this is just showing everything that's included. They're including a few different styles. So if you don't only want to use flowers, you can incorporate hands, sun, stars. These little tiny elements are very helpful for filling out a pack. So instead of just putting flowers on something, you might want to put some of these smaller elements to add in a little bit of dimension and detail. See how much more powerful like this pattern is because of these other small elements here. And these people have also created a few bonus posters, so that's just like art that they can go ahead and print directly. It's also important to think of the use cases when talking about what type of elements you're going to create. I do have watercolor, I have vector, and I have fonts, which are obviously vector. I also have a font that's just for monograms, so that's kind of a different style and different use case than some of my other fonts. So now you want to think about what file types you actually want to provide. Again, you can look up some of these and look at their descriptions, see what types of files they provide. So they're going to list out specifically JPEG, EPS, PNG, SVG, etc. Always with vector files, I'm going to provide a 600 ppi PNG. So that's for people who don't really know how to use vectors. They just want to plop it on something. Great. SVGs we're going to provide as well. Canva is a really popular editing platform, and SVGs can be uploaded in Canva. So I find that to be really helpful. And then I always provide an Illustrator file as well, which is just going to be everything on one page. For watercolor elements, I will provide just the PNGs, and typically I like to provide a couple of different colors and link to a video about how they can further change the colors. So what I've got is all of my different frames on different layers here in Illustrator, and they are, let's see what color. I painted them all in this Opera Rose bright pink, but I have these different adjustment layers to change the colors. So for instance, this is sage, and this is just like a filter that I put. So all of the different frames now look like they are sage. I'm going to select all of the different frames that I want to export and just click quick export as PNG, making sure my file is 300 dpi. It's going to be a usable file. It's at the right size that people want to use it at, etc. So a quick export as PNG, and then all of those green ones will export into a green folder. Turn off the green, turn on the dusty blue, and do the same thing with all of the dusty blue. So however you want to get your files onto your computer might be different if they are watercolor, if they are vector, if they are actions, backgrounds, patterns, etc. Now, if you have everything in Illustrator, there's an easy way to export everything you need. So you'll select all of the different elements, go over to this portion, which is your asset export. You can find that in Window, Asset Export. And then I'm just going to drag all of these in here. It's going to make each of these bows its own asset, and you can export that as many times and ways as you want. So the only difficult part here is that you might want to name them if you want them to go into the final folder named, such as all I have here is like bow 1, bow 2. But if you did want to give them specific names, sometimes I do that on my other packs where it's like cactus, heart, flower, etc. Then you would do that here in the asset section. I just named all of these as bow 1, bow 2, etc. And then you are ready to export. So we'll select everything that we want and then add what type of export we want. So I always do a 2x PNG. That's going to give you basically the 600 dpi PNG. It's going to be double the size that it is in here, so it should be usable by anyone for pretty much anything. We're going to add one more, and we'll just do a 1x SVG. You can also upload, you can export everything as a JPEG if you want, a PDF, etc. But these are the two that I do. And then when you click export, it's going to create this exact folder for you. So you have everything you need in your 600 and in your SVG, all the individual assets. And then for the Illustrator file, I just save this Illustrator file here. As for what you will upload for Creative Market, you have that ready to go. Just zip it up so it's in one file. Now let's talk about creating your different product images, and I'll scroll through, I do these in Illustrator, I'll scroll through this larger one to show you all the different things that I want to show. The cover image should be attention grabbing, it should have your title pretty big, it should show off what is in the pack of elements. You're going to want something that shows each individual element, but you're also going to intersperse that with mock-ups of various things. So we have used some of these elements in different colors. We've created a fake wedding invitation, a couple of fake escort cards. Then we have a list of everything that is included. interspersing it with like, oh, and you get these cool rectangle borders too. And here's something that you can create with them. And you get these cool miscellaneous elements. Showing these use cases, how your clients are actually going to use them is really helpful. So these are editable in Canva, and we want to show how easily you can upload and change the color of these in Canva. Oh, you're also going to get this. Here are different pattern swatches. Some more examples of how you might use these. Oh, you're also going to get these. Some more examples. Most of my examples are focused specifically on weddings, not so much Valentine's Day, because I do want to encourage people to use these year round. But I did have some Valentine's cards on here, reiterating the vector patterns. More examples of what you can use this for. A lot of these mock-ups are just things that I created because I want them to use them on stationery. But as you'll see, some of these other sellers are using more product mock-ups. You can buy these on Etsy. You can buy them here on Creative Market. You also can ask ChatGPT to create them for you. They're not always perfect, but here's an example of a table number mock-up that ChatGPT made for me that I did really like. Overall, these are about showing how the product can be used. You kind of just have to try some things, put yourself in a buyer's shoes. Who are they? What are they looking for? Why would they want to buy this product? If they are individual user, maybe they want to design some wallpaper for their home. If they want to design this ribbon, it seems like this person is really appealing to like fabric and home goods. So establishing that kind of niche can be really helpful to choosing your mock-ups and making sure your products are really speaking to people. This person has some printed plates, some packaging. I think that's really powerful. You'll see these beauty packaging options a lot. I think those are really powerful. Illustrator has some free mock-up stuff in beta right now using AI that you could use. This is showing like wall art or a t-shirt, journal, more wall art, etc. So once you have all of that created, how do you actually add something to your shop? And if you don't have a shop yet, you are going to have to apply, and Creative Market can take a little while to approve your shop. They're going to want to see a portfolio of things somewhere else. So if this is your first product, then I would work on developing your portfolio on Instagram, on your website, kind of a brand kit, etc., that you can upload to them, because they want to see that you're not just creating one product, but you're actually going to be an artist or designer who is consistently uploading things. This is what your product listing is going to look like, and whenever you're ready to hit live, you can, but it's not going to let you do that until you've filled out all of the forms. I'm going to log into mine and show you that bow artwork because it's already filled out. So this is what a live product looks like, and you'll see I have my title here. This is where you want to give the best description of what everything is. You'll have time in the description to establish more, and you'll also have some keywords over here that you can use. They have a few markdowns supported here for italics, bolds, list items, or horizontal rule, so you can use those. For instance, I wanted these to be in a list, so I put a little dash before them. In the product description, this is your best chance to get hit with SEO. So you want to say what these are good for, like perfect for Valentine's cards, wedding invitations, things that people might be searching to find these. But you also, this is where people are coming to see what file type it is, etc. Yes, you can put that information in the images, but you want to repeat it again here in the description because people are definitely going to look and see. And sometimes people get confused about, like, if you have a font and you have some elements that are drawn, are you getting the elements? Are you just getting the font, etc.? So put all of that information here, and then this is your AI indicator. This was not done with AI, and you can customize the search engine title and meta description if you want. I typically don't because I assume they're doing their best. You'll upload all of your images here. For this bows one, I just did things a little bit more simply. Just put what was included, an example of how we use the bows, the Canva option, that's very important for people, and then another example of how these bows were used. Over here, you can establish what section your graphics are going into. Something like this could go into illustrators or it could go into graphics. So there's a few different options sometimes, and you might just want to click on these different categories on the main page and see where your piece fits best. Then within graphics, there's a few different options here: backgrounds, objects, patterns, textures, and wallpapers. Some of your packs might have multiple, so just choose the one that fits best. They will have some guidelines about how to price everything. So if you were to try and price this at $90, for instance, it will say price cannot be lower than 2 times your personal price rounded up. So I'm going to have to change those if I change the personal. If you're not familiar with creative market licenses, I do have another video all about those. I'm usually going to suggest a price range for your category. You don't necessarily have to listen to that. For instance, this would be in the same category as my 500 elements, but obviously 500 is going to be a lot better than 43. Here's where you can select different platforms that your graphics are compatible with, which is really helpful to people. The DPI and then some other different aspects here that you can select. I always do the DPI and also if it's vector or not. You can add different properties, like if you have a tileable pattern, you can select tileable. You can add dimensions as well if that's important to your work. And then you can do tags. And this is where you can just kind of research. You can type in some things and see what comes up. So if I start typing here, I'm going to see some additional options, and maybe that will help me with coming up with some of those tags. I think it's limitless. I've never hit the limit before, but you don't want to type in too many. So I have about 20 here, and I think that is pretty good. Now your product is ready to go live, and what I would recommend is whenever it does go live, try to drive some traffic there so that creative market sees that it's a popular product, and they'll continue to drive some of their own traffic as well. Some ways that you can kind of optimize your shop are thinking in kind of bundles. So for instance, what can I create that then I could either break down or add up to create a bundle or a slightly different thing? How could I market the same bows? Maybe I change it to like a green and red pattern and mark it as Christmas bows and put some different mock-ups that have Christmas in them so people can see different ways to use them. You could also try different header images, so maybe make the listing twice and have 2 different header images to see what does well, or play with one for a week, play with another one for a week, and see if you get more interest on a certain one. You don't want to be driving all of the traffic here to Creative Market because they do take 50% of all of your sales. So if you are doing all the traffic driving, you might as well send that to your website or Etsy or something like that where you're making a larger percentage of that sale. You really want these products to be search focused, so that's where that SEO research and Pinterest research can come in so that you're creating something that people are actively searching for. Lastly, a lot of these products are going to also be sold on Etsy because there's just different audiences in different places, and you can actually sell them for cheaper and make the same amount of money on Etsy because they take a smaller percentage than Creative Market does. So what I like to do is sometimes when I'm shopping, I'll get like a little browser notification that this product can be bought for $2 cheaper on Etsy or somewhere else. So I like to sell my products for $1 or $2 cheaper on Etsy because I still make the same amount or even more. And sometimes if someone's looking at something and they're like, oh, I don't want to pay $20 for that, maybe I'll pay $19. It makes them feel like they're getting a good deal. I feel like that's helped my Etsy shop take off. And personally, I would prefer to sell my products on Etsy than Creative Market because I make more money there. And so if I can get someone from Creative Market over to Etsy, that is a big win for me, especially if they were maybe questioning the price and they prefer feeling like they got a discount. So selling on Creative Market is really awesome. It's going to help you create collections. It's going to help you attract some brands because it is like very curated who can sell here, and it's going to get you a lot of automatic traffic. We're averaging like 2+ sales per day, and we're trying to continue to build that up. In the first quarter of this year, we made more than we made in the entire year last year. So you definitely can get some wonderful traffic here, but I also recommend using those products in other ways. So finding other places like Etsy to sell them once you've already done all the hard work of creating the graphics, putting them together in the folder, renaming them, etc., creating all of your little mock-ups and things. You might as well just go through the process of listing them on a different site if you can, because that's a great way to make more money off of some of this low-hanging fruit and work that you've already done. So if this video was helpful in you getting some graphic packs set up for you on Creative Market to start making some more passive income, stick around on my channel for more ways that you can make passive income. And if you are a stationery designer or artist, I have tons and tons of resources that I'll link in the description for you to help grow your business. Thanks, everyone.